So tell us a little bit from your perspective about the dissident movement, and then what you think is happening like right now that is causing people in the thousands, probably tens of thousands, to take to the street to be very vocal about their freedom and trying to represent change through protest and through lifting their voice as a people, and maybe why that's happening now as opposed to why it hasn't happened in the past. And I'll dovetail that with also just saying it this way is that. The things there's some confusion here in America too as to why this is happening. So I think you can really help us with this. If you listen to the media in some spaces, this is totally relegated to COVID and lack of vaccines. I'm sure there's some aspect of that, but I think anybody with a clear thinking brain can easily say this is much bigger than COVID. This is much bigger than vaccines. That might have been the tipping point. But the real problem is a communist dictatorship that does not allow people to the freedoms that they have been given by God. So tell me in your understanding of everything that's going on, what you think is going on right now, and kind of the dissident movement from a big, large perspective.
Yeah. Just to be clear, what's happening right now has never happened in the country before, not in my lifetime, not in the last 60 decades. And what's happening right now is not related to COVID at all. What's happening right now is the many generations have gone through and have gotten tired of all the lies that our own government has been telling us for decades. And the situation right now with COVID, with the economy, with the lockdown, all of that just accentuated the crisis and just made people realize we need to do something. But everything that is happening right now, I believe, is because younger generations know what's out there in the world. Right now, we have access to the internet, we have access to phones, and information travels way faster. The key to the power of the Castros has always been that they control the information. So when you can control information for over 50 decades, you can create the ideas that people think about. But in the last 10 years, that has been changing because of the technology advances, social media, and all of the above. So what's happening right now is just all of that coming to light, and not in small isolated movements, but and it's not even a movement, it's just the regular people. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who was sending me messages, and he lives like right in the middle of Havana. He lives next to a police station, and he's seeing everything that's happening. And he was saying, I told him that I was going to talk to you and that I was doing this interview. And I asked him, what do you want me to like make sure that people know? And he said, make sure that people know that the people going out to protest and ask for freedoms are the doctors, the architects, the professionals, like the people who have small businesses, people who actually have something to lose. Those are the people who are going out. It's not like left, extreme left or extreme right, people that have ideologies. It's nothing related to like politics. It's just simple human freedom. Like people just want to be able to go out and say what they think, and be able to say, I disagree with that, and be able to say, I want to start my own business and I want to create something and sell it to someone else. And people wanting like basic human rights, be able to like get together in a place and talk about things. Like just being able to talk about things, it's not permitted in our country. And that's just the beginning of something super exciting and major that could happen. But it's just really sad that it has to happen through violence. And all of that is also coming from the government, because all the people that went onto the streets, they had their hands up and they were just asking for freedom. No one has guns, because we haven't had guns. Civilians in Cuba haven't had guns in the last 60 years. Like weapons are not allowed. They're illegal. Like we have no weapons. So all the people that went out to the streets, and you can see on all the videos and the pictures, just mostly young people with their hands up asking like enough.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why the Second Amendment is a big deal. See, most people just think, oh, well, the Second Amendment's about Southerners and their guns. But the Second Amendment is actually sincerely about not only protecting yourself and the right to be able to go hunt if you want to hunt, but it's also about the right to know that the people are the ones that are supposed to be in control of their government. And there should be this kind of stopgap. Not that there's threats, and that's the tenuous relationship we have with our government, but that there is this knowledge that you work for us, and that if you stop working for us, there is a price to pay. There's something good even in that knowledge, and so the Second Amendment has a purpose. But beyond that, I think what's really striking is that you say it's a younger generation, and I'll take your word for that. But what's striking is that this younger generation seems to be presenting an element of courage that hasn't been present, perhaps just because of how evil the Castro regime has been, or whatever. But they seem to be saying enough is enough, and finally we're going to do something about this stuff. And my question for you then is, this is just a kind of like your personal thoughts on this, because I know you don't know the answer, but my biggest fear is that what we're seeing already happening is that the police are pushing back against these people and stopping these people who are totally unarmed, and using force against them. What do you think is going to happen long term? Do you think this movement has the teeth and the courage to keep on pressing in, even when there starts to be a higher cost for what they're doing? Do you think this move is going to exact the kind of change that Cubans have so desperately wanted for so long?
Yeah, I think right now, I don't even know if we have a movement, because I keep asking everyone that I know, like, who is the person that would like lead this? Because I'm always like, this is something that I have thought about for a long, long time. I've been in America for about 10 years now. Yeah. And every time I seriously think about the situation in Cuba, I start to think, okay, if I wanted to fix it, like if the US will come in and try to fix everything, if even the Cuban communist government would say, okay, we want to fix the country and just have a better life, what are the things that we would do? And I think it all starts with freedom of speech. That's only the beginning.
First Amendment.
You cannot create or formulate a plan without talking about the plan that you want to create, right? And you cannot talk about the things that are wrong if you're not allowed to talk in the first place. And I think what's happening right now is giving an opening for that. If we get that freedom, then I think the movement or whatever it is that will create the change will come after that.
Yeah, but do you think that freedom of speech is going to be possible without revolution?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think the fact that people are courageous enough to go out to the streets and talk about what they want to do, once that gets normalized, I don't think the army is going to keep shooting people forever. Like, at some point, even those people in the army, they're going to realize this doesn't make any sense. Like, we are beating these people up and all they want to do is talk. Like, at some point that has to stop. So I believe that if people in Cuba, and now people everywhere, like in Miami, like if you go on the news right now, they're closing down the streets and the Cubans are going out and they're saying, if Cuba is on the streets, Miami's on the streets. And like here in LA, I just got information from some friends, and this afternoon we're going to go out too, and we're also going to start talking about that on the streets so everyone can hear exactly what's happening. I think if we start doing that, we will get our freedom of speech just by speaking up. If we keep speaking up, the people will have to hear us. And once we get that, then the conversation can begin, and then we can try to figure out a plan to just have that freedom and then add more freedoms to that.
You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman every Monday, and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.